Turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and lock your doors. You have entered the world of the unknown. Welcome to the Dead Hour broadcast.
The Chowdhury ancestral home sat like a rotting tooth in the marshlands of rural Bengal. It was a sprawling, decaying mansion, choked by ancient banyan trees whose roots snaked through the cracked masonry like veins. Aryan, a pragmatic software engineer from London, had inherited this white elephant after his grandfather's passing. His intention was clear: arrive, assess the property, sell it to the highest bidder, and leave the humidity and superstition behind. He arrived just as the sun was bleeding into the horizon, casting long skeletal shadows across the overgrown courtyard. The only other occupant was Karim, the elderly caretaker, whose skin looked as weathered as the house itself. That first evening, as a heavy monsoon rain began to hammer the tin roof, Karim brought Aryan his dinner. "Choto Babu," Karim said, his voice a low rumble, "stay in your room tonight. The wind carries old voices here. And remember the rule of this land. If you hear your name called at night, never answer. Never open the door, especially not after the third time." Aryan chuckled, sipping his tea. "Karim Chacha, I don't believe in ghosts. It's just the wind howling through these old corridors." Karim didn't smile. "The Nishi doesn't care what you believe. It only cares that you listen." Night one passed with only the sound of the storm. Aryan slept fitfully, the damp smell of mold and history filling his nose. It began on the second night. The rain had stopped, leaving a suffocating silence that pressed against the ears. Aryan was reading by the weak light of a kerosene lamp when he heard it. "Aryan!" It was faint, coming from just outside the heavy teak front door. He froze. It wasn't the wind. It sounded indistinct, like a radio tuned between stations. He ignored it, attributing it to fatigue. An hour later, it came again, louder this time. "Aryan, open the door. It's cold out here." The book fell from his hands. The blood drained from his face. The voice wasn't a stranger's. It sounded exactly like his grandfather, the man he had just buried 2 weeks ago. The tone was pitiful, weak, filled with the tremulous age he remembered. "It's a prank," Aryan told himself, his heart hammering against his ribs. But deep down, a primal dread began to uncoil in his stomach. He didn't sleep that night, sitting bolt upright in bed, staring at the bolted door. The third day was heavy with dread. The air was thick enough to choke on. Karim looked at Aryan's pale face and said nothing, only placing an extra iron bolt on the main door before dusk. When darkness fell, it felt absolute. The jungle around the house seemed to lean closer. At midnight, the first call came. It wasn't different tonight. It wasn't his grandfather. "Aryan, my love." It was a soft, melodic voice that tore his soul apart. Maya, his fiancée, who had died in a car accident 3 years ago. A pain he had buried deep inside resurfaced with violent force. "This is not real, it's not real," Aryan chanted, pressing his hands over his ears. 20 minutes later, the second call. Closer now, right against the wood of the door. He could almost hear nails scratching the surface. "Aryan, please, why did you leave me alone? I found my way back to you. Let me in." Tears streamed down Aryan's face. The voice was perfect. Every inflection, the slight tremble she had when she was cold, it was Maya. The psychological torture was unbearable. The rational part of his brain screamed that this was the Nishi, the night spirit that lures victims into the darkness by mimicking loved ones. But his broken heart wanted to believe. He stood up, his legs shaking, and walked towards the door. He stopped inches away, his hand hovering over the heavy iron bolt. "Maya?" he whispered. Silence stretched for an agonizing minute. Then came the third call. It wasn't soft anymore. It was a wretched, guttural shriek that sounded like Maya's voice twisted by the fires of hell, desperate and demanding. "Aryan, open the door now! I can breathe out here!" The sound shattered his resistance. It was the sound of his greatest guilt, his lost love and agony. Logic abandoned him. Driven by a maddening mix of terror and desperate hope, he threw back the first bolt, then the second. He yanked the heavy door open, ready to embrace his lost love or face a monster. There was nothing there. Only the swirling mist of the Bengal night and the impenetrable darkness of the jungle. The air rushing in was ice cold, smelling not of rain but of freshly dug earth. A strange, hypnotic urge took over him. The darkness outside didn't seem empty anymore. It felt inviting. A soft, unseen hand seemed to take his. He stepped over the threshold, into the blackness. The next morning, Karim found the front door wide open, swinging gently in the morning breeze. Aryan's shoes were by the door. His room was empty. Karim sighed, a sound filled with generations of sorrow. He quietly closed the heavy teak door and slid the bolts back into place. The house was silent again, waiting for the next skeptic to arrive. The Nishi had fed.
The story ends here, but the fear remains. If you want to survive the night, hit that subscribe button. And remember, don't look under your bed tonight.